What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video, and today we are going to be talking about how the Browns are going to go with the rest of the season. And obviously, Deshaun Watson is now injured, so the tables have turned on the Browns, and now they're going to have to find a way to finish the season. They currently sit at 6-3, and maybe they can sneak into the playoffs if they play well, and we'll kind of see what happens. Obviously, the Ravens won on Thursday, so that puts the division title out of reach at least for this week. And obviously, Joe Burrow got hurt, so the AFC North is actually looking kind of banged up right now. Steelers haven't really had much big injuries, but we'll obviously see what happens with that. Um, but if the Browns are going to win against the Steelers on Sunday, they're going to have good quarterback play. Watson is hurt, so the current starter for the Browns will be Dorian Thompson Robinson, but it's also been kind of interesting because they called in Joe Flacco for a workout. Now, Joe Flacco left without a deal, but there's still a possibility of him getting a deal as a Browns quarterback, and that would be huge, even though he is on the older side of quarterbacks. But we'll kind of see what happens with the quarterback situation. Provided that Dorian Thompson Robinson plays, I think he'll be a little bit better than how it went against the Ravens earlier in the year. He'll be more prepared for the Steelers. Um, and the Steelers obviously finding ways to win, and it's important that the Browns win this game because the Steelers, they don't go away, and it's just going to be a really competitive division at the end. And yeah, so when you look at the Browns roster, they had some injuries to their own line. Obviously, I just mentioned Watson was out. They've had some injuries. However, they do have depth on that defense. So I am confident that the defense will play well against the Steelers. Um, but that fourth quarter, the Steelers last week, it was just they had a good fourth quarter. Kenny Pickett in the fourth quarter, he does really well. So we got to watch out for that. I think the Steelers, they're 6-3. You got to give them credit, even with them projected as having a mid roster, they have done very well. So it's not gonna be an easy game for the Browns, but we'll kind of see how the game turns out. Um, I expect that this game will be very close. Now, looking ahead of the Steelers game and looking at the rest of the schedule for the schedule favors the Browns, and they got the Broncos. They got the Broncos and then the Rams, and then uh, they play the Bengals last game of the year. They play the Jets, and then they also got the Bears mixed in there as well. So the schedule for the Browns coming up for the end of the regular season is in their favor. The big hard part of the schedule is pretty much gone. Um, but West Coast trips are difficult, so we'll have to see how the Browns do there. Um, and we'll kind of see if Stefanski makes any adjustments to this offense. Uh, Now looking at the Ravens still a very good team. They have an injury to Mark Andrews, and Mark Andrews I think has a really big impact on the Ravens offense. So um, let's we're gonna have to kind of see how Lamar Jackson's gonna perform for the rest of the year. But he still has Say Flowers and Odell Beckham. So those are some other weapons that Lamar Jackson has. Then you look at the Bengals. Burrow is out. So I mean, they really didn't have much quarterback room, like the Browns did, and it's gonna be interesting to see how the Bengals finish their season with their second string quarterback. And now the division is still up for grabs. I mean, we can see the Bengals maybe sneak into the race here. The Browns are still in that division race with the Steelers, and the Ravens are holding on to the top of the division. So that'll be interesting to see. Now, I will say one thing, and I think this is completely unrelated to the division, uh, but I think the Browns have handled this quarterback situation really poorly, to be honest with you. Um, I thought that PJ Walker would get the start, but it is DTR. And looking at the season, the quarterback situation for the Browns has just been a mess. And Deshaun Watson, he's been injured pretty much for all the time he's been playing, besides the beginning of that Tennessee game and that Pittsburgh game, which they lost in. Um, but it's just in that Cincinnati game at the beginning of the year. But ever since those games, I mean, the quarterback situation has just been horrible, and Cleveland has just been doing a horrendous job of quarterback depth. They had no plan for a backup quarterback for Deshaun Watson at all. And I'm not saying PJ Walker or DTR is bad, but you can't have two unexperienced quarterbacks behind Deshaun Watson in the case Deshaun Watson gets hurt. And I just think the Browns have handled that very poorly, and the media has also been handling it poorly. And the amount of times I've seen he'll be expected to play and then he's not playing at all, it's kind of ridiculous, and it's really tiring. Um, and it's just been really frustrating year in some parts. Um, it's just really unfortunate that the Browns are in the situation they are in, uh, and hopefully Stefanski can lead them to some big wins, and hopefully this defense can hold down um, these offenses, which I think have some potential. And we'll kind of see what happens with that. And Now looking at the rest of the year in terms of record, I think the Browns are gonna finish around a record of 10-7. If I'm being honest with you, I see them having a slight decline, but I still think they'll be a wild card team, and maybe they'll even grab the division if the Ravens lose. But now that's to be determined at the end of the year. So it's been a roller coaster ride for Browns fans this year. But they are 6-3, and they control their own destiny at this point in the year. So there is going to be no more helping from the Steelers, Ravens, and Bengals, because at this point that's not really going to do much. So um, honestly, hopefully we can get good quarterback play from DTR, provided that he's starting. Or maybe we'll see Joe Flacco get in there. Hopefully this defense can play well like they have been playing all year. And hopefully Stefanski can make the right call at the right time so that the Browns win. But that is honestly all the thoughts I have on the Browns right now. If you guys have any thoughts on the Browns, be sure to drop them in the description below, in the comments below. And we'll see you guys on the next video. And yeah.